We'll be going over how to know if you need any kind of changes in flora, how to know if you're having symptoms of an imbalance called dysbiosis. You might have heard of that. We'll also cover some detoxifying foods. We've got a mineral of the day coming up, I'll discuss, and some of our approaches to nutrition. I look forward to this chat in the next hour from 11 to noon. This is Nurse Ivy, and you are in the garden. Upcoming, we're going to listen to some music, starting off with Gratitude by Lazy Hammock. And let's see, it's called Island Lover. And that was Lazy Hammock from the CD Island Lover song Gratitude. And you may hear that playing in the background while we cover some of the topics. Now you're here in the garden with Nurse Ivy, and you are going to be hearing some topics on health, including dysbiosis, detoxification from heavy metals and toxins in our environment, along with the mineral of the day, which will be selenium, and some nutrition points. Now, on this station and during this time, I love to interview as well as talk. So if you are a doctor in the area, if you are an acupuncturist or another nutrition consultant like myself, if you are running a business in the area and you'd like to get in on some of these talks or share your message, talk to the listening audience of Cows Radio, please give me a call. You can call 707-812-6683. You can also call or email ivy@nurseivy.com. And if you'd like to check out my site, it is hunter-nutrition.com or nurseivy.com. Cows Community Radio thanks Sally Tomatoes for their generous support. Sally Tomatoes is the celebration destination, featuring banquet rooms, a cafe, and a bar. They also offer catering for your own special events. They're located in Sonoma Mountain Village at 1100 Valley House Drive in Rohnert Park. Learn more about Sally Tomatoes by visiting their website, sallytomatoes.com, or you can also reach them by phone at 707-665-0260. Thank you, Sally Tomatoes. Another public service announcement to thank Hop Monk Tavern. Cows Radio thanks Hop Monk Tavern for their underwriting support. Hop Monk Tavern is a place to celebrate where you can enjoy a lively pub atmosphere along with the live music, beer garden dining, and their wide selection of crafted beers. Located at 230 Petaluma Avenue in Sebastopol, Hop Monk is open daily at 11:30 a.m. You can reach them by phone at 829-7300 or visit them on the web at hopmonk.com/Sebastopol. So let's get started with dysbiosis. What is dysbiosis? That's a big word. We're just going to call it we could call it anything. We could call it GERD, we could call it heartburn, we could call it distension, we could call it uneasy feeling after eating, we could call it immune problems or a trigger for immune problems. We can call it all kinds of things. We can call it an imbalance. And what I like to call things when it is serious and causing health complications is an imbalance rather than a disease or syndrome. Imbalances, it just insinuates that it can be changed, it can be balanced. There's a balance there to be had. Dysbiosis is the imbalance of the gut flora. It favors the harmful gut flora. So dysbiosis would be the bad gut flora taking over. And what's the importance of all that? We have over 500 different types of good, bad, neutral types of flora, and this is things that live in our gut to help us digest, help us absorb, help our food to break down, help minerals and nutrients become available, bioavailability. It's important to have a good flora. We have some flora that help us to strengthen our immune system, to build our system and prevent disease. We have gut flora that do that. We have good gut flora. And we also have some pathogenic or bad gut flora. We have some that can cause symptoms and serious, life-threatening issues if it's gone too far. So how do you know if you even have it? Why am I talking about it? Well, a lot of people have these symptoms. Maybe you do. Skin issues? Yeah, that's part of related to what's going on in the gut, how we're absorbing. We also have symptoms like appetite changes, fibromyalgia, muscle pain, increased muscle pain. And some of us may be experiencing some activated genetic tendencies or activated dormant genetic tendencies. This could be a wide range of things, including ALS, MS, and other immune problems. These activated immune situations are also a result of a bad imbalance of flora in the gut. So the long-term imbalance, after a while, it will lead to, and it typically happens in childhood, and then we get so used to it, we don't realize that these things are not normal. And let me tell you what they are. It's allergies, yeah, headaches, yeah, digestive problems, fibromyalgia, skin disorders, depression, learning disorders, immune system dysfunction, and nutritional deficiencies. Now that's the long-term result of dysbiosis or the imbalance of gut flora. So why does it matter? Well, how does this, let me go into how this depression symptom, the long-term imbalance, leads to depression. How does our gut cause depression? Most of our serotonin receptors are in the gut. So we have a whole bunch of happiness going on when we're eating right, and we have the right things, we have the right flora, we have a lot of happiness going on in the gut. And, well, what can disturb that is if we go on to antibiotics for a couple weeks, or if we were raised as children in a home with leaded paint. I was. Other people was. There's also toxin exposure. We could do that to ourselves, smoking and drinking, or through our food, less obvious toxin exposure in genetically modified foods and other foods that have chemical ingredients that don't work well with life. Maybe those chemical ingredients work better to preserve food instead of serve food. What's another cause? The other cause is improper food handling. Of course, you could get exposed to toxins and disrupt your gut flora because somebody else might have some kind of gut flora disruption, maybe hepatitis A. That is a gut flora disruption as well, so it's also a virus, but it's something that can just tip the scales, kind of rock the boat, cause an imbalance. Another cause is getting older. Well, if you're over the age of 60, you may have some reduced digestive secretions. This may cause incomplete digestion of foods. So it's very common. It happens in aging. It's something that the nurses, such as myself, is aware of. And sometimes we can do things that will support the flora in lieu of having these changes with age. There's supplements, there's enzymes, and there's other things that we can use. Another cause for the imbalance is excessive alcohol or chlorinated water. So if you're drinking tap water, it's actually, that chlorine doesn't just kill the flora in the water, the bad flora that you don't want to get into your body, it also continues to work even after you drink it. So it's killing the flora in the stomach. Another cause is excess use of corticosteroids, and sometimes we have these corticosteroids that are necessary. Sometimes in order to stay alive, you might, as an asthmatic, I know I've had to take corticosteroids. So this is something that is used. It's not a steroid. It doesn't make you big and buff. It actually decreases our allergic reaction to something our body has identified as a serious allergy and produces an allergic response that can be fatal. So corticosteroids are used with that. It's also used with poison oak and other things that have to do with the immune system overacting. And like we noticed before, allergies are a long-term result of the dysbiosis imbalance. Now, allergies are treated with corticosteroids, so there's another cause of further dysbiosis. So you can see how it's so easy for almost everyone to have an imbalance in their gut. Let's talk about what we can do, what we'll go through, and basically fixing the imbalance removes allergies. It reduces or eliminates headaches. It fixes digestion so you're not feeling bloated and gassy and uncomfortable. It reduces or removes symptoms of fibromyalgia. It clears the skin, clears acne, clears rashes, clears fungal infections of the feet. It is good to have this balance in your gut because it really affects the whole body. And it also improves nutrition because those foods that are needed and assisted in absorption by our flora and the rest of our secretions that are in our gut, all of that is working together to give us the optimal nutrition from the foods that we do eat. Not what you eat, because we don't always absorb what we eat, especially if we're older. It's actually what we absorb and how we can absorb it. And if it's not absorbed, of course, that's that incomplete digestion, kind of not feeling very good after a meal. Well, in order to get those bad pathogens, you might think, I don't have it. So, well, it's a chain. It's actually a chain we're all a part of. So it's very possible to actually have been exposed to pathogenic bacteria that can set up shop, and they do grow faster than the good gut flora. So, when we take antibiotics, we knock out all of our flora. So you might see it as we take our full cup, we have our antibiotics, so we empty that cup, just leaving a little bit of water at the bottom. That's what happens to our bacteria. It gets knocked down. All of them get knocked down to a very small amount. Next thing you know, you're done with the antibiotics, and the bacteria, the flora in your gut can grow back. And what happens? The pathogenic or the bad grow faster. That's an imbalance right there. So we don't have the same levels anymore. We have good gut flora in small amounts, and then all of a sudden we have bad gut flora. So probiotics are common use now after antibiotics, and sometimes in between doses. And that helps to prevent the bad bacteria from overtaking things. And how do you know? Do you want to test for it? You can get a comprehensive digestive stool analysis. There's a doctor that will look over everything and does understand all of this in Sebastopol. You can give me a call in the studio to ask who it is, and I'll disclose the name and number. And the station phone here is 874-1073. You can, so we can test for it. The test will show everything. It'll tell you what you've got in your gut. And what's the cure? What's the treatment? Probiotics. And don't forget those little prebiotics. Prebiotics are important. Prebiotics is the food for the probiotics. It's also a foundation, a building block for them to set up shop. Basically, it's fibers and sugars and starches that work with that particular bacteria and build it and allow it to grow and be prolific. So if we're taking probiotics, we want to include prebiotics in our diet. So that's something that a lot of people might leave out. They may continue their standard American diet. Perhaps they're just eating the regular foods they eat, but it may be very low in prebiotics. So a quick Google will give you a list of foods that are prebiotic. The number one is going to be Jerusalem artichoke. And damage can happen to the intestines, so you want to protect that, and sometimes healing that with some of these supplements that nutrition consultants you meet with will advise depending on your specific condition. The herbs that help to limit the imbalance includes oregano. Oregano oil helps not only to normalize blood sugar responses to food, but it also helps to nourish and restore balance to the gut. It doesn't really allow those negative bacteria to overflow and overpopulate. Other herbs also, sage, lemon balm. We have a lot of lemon balm in Camp Maker. Garlic, ginger, wormwood, and licorice. Deglyceride or DGL licorice is really good to help absorption, especially if you're over the age of 60. The deglyceride or DGL licorice is not only good for digestion, but it also helps stimulate our energy and libido. So licorice is actually really good little supplement to add in there, especially if you're under stress. Another dysbiosis balancing act trick is to resolve stress. Yes, stress, your gut, your skin, it's all connected. Any kind of depression or imbalance there, that's all connected. So resolving stress, and we did talk about that last week, resolving stress. And in regards to PTSD. So basically, in a nutshell, our goal is to remove allergies, to balance the bacteria, manage stress, reduce toxins, reduce those symptoms that are so uneasy, maybe foods that cause gas or those distension after dinners, any heartburn or any difficulty sleeping from heartburn, any kind of stomach acidity or enzyme imbalance. These things, you talk to a nutrition consultant and you'll have these worked out, and you'll have a plan for yourself individually tailored for you. So what do we do? What do we do? We have a test. We have all kinds of tests. You can test your own transit time, which is basically the time from when you eat to when it leaves the body. Time it. Use something like a cup of raw beets, which will show up as bright red, or a couple tablespoons of sesame seeds is what Dr. Bowman or Ed Bowman from Bowman College uses during his nutritional assessments to assess transit time. It's only a concern if it's more than 36 hours. But if it is more than 36 hours, it can seriously cause some health issues. What's another test that you can do at home? It is a simple test. Take your temperature. Not just any old time, but when you wake up. This is your baseline temperature. Basically, when you wake up, your body is the most balanced it can be in temperature. This is your baseline temperature. You want to take it early in the morning before you get out of bed, because once we wake up, our body does heat up a little for the activity of getting ready. So you want to take it as soon as you wake up. It helps your nutrition consultant identify your metabolic state and herbs and things that will work best. There is another test that you can do at home. It's very interesting. It tests the buffering system of the body. And it's called the salivary lemon juice test. Or lemon juice challenge test, and it sounds pretty cool. You take a tablespoon of lemon juice and swish it around. Do that 4 times using pH paper. You begin taking your salivary pH every minute or every 30 seconds. And just logging the pH. Really what you want to see is it returns to normal within 30 seconds to a minute. Now, if it does take over a minute, your buffering system is in a critical condition. Now, there's no symptoms other than poor digestion and perhaps some of these symptoms like allergies and headaches, which really don't point to nutrition for most people. But the buffering system is very important. It does give you a little picture of what's going on in the body and the kidneys. Well, if you do have those pH strips, you can use those same pH strips to figure out what the pH of your urine is, too. So, most of us have an acid-forming diet, and that may be just foods that produce acidity in the body and require our buffering system to take care of that. And if you have something going on already, such as diabetes, this may be a test you want to do right away. And it just gives you a little snapshot of what your alkaline reserves are like. And if this test is unusual, you'll want to go see a nutritionist. You'll want to go talk to somebody who's aware about these things. These things are not conventional medicine. So this is not medical advice. These are things that you can do at home. Now, what is allergic tension? Allergic tension is described by Dr. Colcott. Allergic tension are those allergies that we don't recognize, those allergic responses that go unseen, allergies that will turn up positive on a blood allergy test, but these are allergies that we don't recognize. We become so sensitive to things in our environment we're overexposed to. A lot of times we can hyperexpose ourselves to something if we're really like on a kick for something. We could be eating sesame seeds, tahini, soy sauce, and a lot of things that have allergies. Eggs, dairy, and corn are some of the top allergies, and wheat. So what do we do to test allergic tension? We see a nutrition consultant. And during a little test of eating a certain amount of foods, specific foods, you'll have your pulse monitored during this time. It is a way of detecting any kind of hidden allergies in foods. Another thing you can do at home is start an elimination diet. So elimination diets can be Googled, and those are very restrictive, but it adds all of your foods back in slowly so that you have your diet back to normal at the end of the elimination diet. And if you have any troubles that pop up during adding your foods back in, it will help you identify where those hidden allergies are. All right, let's get to the importance of our mineral of the day. Let me just mention first that you are listening to Cows LP 107.3 FM, Occidental California Community Radio for West Sonoma County, streaming on the World Wide Web at kows.fm. Our station phone number here is 874-1073. Our office phone number is 874-9090. And you can email kows@sonic.net or send donations to KOWS, P.O. Box 1073, Occidental, California 95465. Or you can go online and click the donate button to donate now. We do need some funding for this antenna that we would really like to get our signal out. The mineral of the day is selenium. It is a beautiful day outside here in Occidental. And let me tell you about selenium because this is a very important herb or mineral. It's a trace mineral. It's considered an essential mineral. We need this from our food. Our body doesn't make it itself. It's an antioxidant and it functions as part of a metabolic pathway. It's part of something we call, as nutrition consultants call, the glutathione peroxidase pathway. So it's a function that helps prevent complications and imbalances in the body. The selenium will prevent the imbalances that can lead to cancer. vascular disease, and it also helps the body in detoxifying from heavy metals. It helps the body remove heavy metals from the body. You take selenium from your food sources to assist the body to remove the toxins during a detox. If you have taken a hair mineral analysis test and found that you're toxic in some of those minerals, I believe they test for about 60 different minerals in a $99 hair mineral analysis test. And it's worth doing because if you've grown up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you potentially lived in a home with leaded paint. That lead doesn't always leave because our body doesn't really excrete everything. But it will store things that can be dangerous to our body. It will store the lead in the bones. It will store different chemicals and other minerals and toxic elements in the liver, bones, spleen. It'll be around the body, or it could even be displaced into the hair and skin. So you are going to want selenium. This is great supplement for a couple weeks, and like any supplement, you don't want to take it for more than 3 months because you can create an imbalance from taking a long-term supplement for more than 3 months unless it's a need that maintains or an imbalance that stays around. So as long as there's an imbalance, you can use this. But I go with the Bowman College 3-month rule. Don't take a supplement for more than 3 months without talking to your consultant first. But you can get selenium from foods, so you can add these foods into your daily mix. And these foods, nice selenium foods, include wheat germ. You get 111 milligrams per 3.5 ounce serving, and you want about a couple hundred milligrams a day, I believe. Well, selenium is found in vegetables, grains, and nuts. So we also have Brazil nuts, apple cider vinegar, and barley. We have just regular eating whole wheat bread, 60 milligrams of sodium, or selenium, sorry. And bran, another good grain, it's 63 milligrams of selenium. So if you have your whole wheat bread, some Swiss chard also has a good amount of selenium, some oats, maybe some oatmeal in the morning, Swiss chard for lunch, let's see, a sandwich for a snack, and you're getting some selenium in there. And the Brazil nuts, as long as they were grown in an area where the soil is rich in selenium, such as Brazil, then you will get selenium from those nuts. When you're low on selenium, the symptoms can include recurrent infections. It can also make you very susceptible to catching the cold or flu, and we do have our spring colds and flus that go around just about this time. So selenium, being balanced in selenium, can help you avoid a lot of complications. Another thing is, how do you know if you're balanced? A hair mineral analysis test. So the inflammatory conditions that selenium helps to balance out are not visible swelling in the body. It could be arthritic or allergy related, but it also helps with that. So if you want more information on selenium, visit the website nutritiondata.self.com. I really like that site because they are adding to it every day and they have a lot of resources. And I do not mention the meat sources because I don't consider that a sustainable food source. And if you are looking for selenium from meat sources, you'd find it in smoked herring and organic butter. And that would be organic pasture-raised butter. Let's get on to the next topic. And here we are going to go over the best food sources during detoxification. And what do you mean? What do I mean by detoxification? I'm not talking about detoxing like having a hangover after drinking the night before. To me, that's all symptoms. There's nothing I can do for you there. Unless as a nurse, I treat symptoms. As a holistic nutrition consultant, I treat causes. So detoxification, I'm relating to the mineral buildup, the environmental toxin buildup, the bits and plasmids and um, genetic DNA mismatches that we get from genetically modified food. Those things can make us toxic. So I'm trying to focus on removing those things from the body. It does not relate to drugs or alcohol. Of course, if you have a well detoxified system where you're not already maxed out on lead, mercury, nickel, and other toxins from the environment, you will probably not have a hangover the day after drinking. So it does affect those things in a way, but completely indirectly. It's indirectly related. So, and when I say detoxification, I am talking about environmental toxins. Here's some best food sources during a detox. Seeds. We need daily servings of seeds. Seeds are important. They have all kinds of fiber in the shell. They have all the start of life begins in a seed. So all of the enzymes we need for that. It's a life-giving food, especially when lightly sprouted. So we want 2 to 3 servings a day of seeds. It's a good thing to add in the Brazil nuts with the selenium and high selenium foods. It's also good to add in some hazelnuts. We have walnuts here, so I think walnuts, the time to pick them up was just about December or something. And, seeds can be also used to curb hunger. A lot of times people feel excessively hungry when they're toxic, and that can lead to overeating. So if you're adding seeds into your smoothie or seeds into your salads or foods or sprinkling them on top, sprouting them and eating them in salads, however you're eating your seeds, it's good. It's good. Just add them every day. Another food group, protein. And I'm covering this from a vegan standpoint, but I'll also include the omni standpoint. Your daily need for protein, you get about 2 to 4 servings a day. The size, about a golf ball. The 2 to 4 servings is really flexible because you can't really have 2 to 4 servings of the animal proteins. You can have the size difference. So you can have 2 servings of the animal or 4 servings of vegetable-based protein. So why do you want to switch to vegetable-based protein? Well, number one, if you're hungry, you can eat more. You can eat twice as much. So, and it has less fats because animal protein, of course, it already has everything there. And even if you're eating lean, you're still getting quite a bit of fat along with that. Your whole daily supply of fat is delivered to you in your protein servings if you're eating an animal source. But if you're eating a vegetable-based, you don't have to worry about that. You can add your fats in another way. You can use peanut butter and other nut butters. You can use flax and other seeds, flax oil and pumpkin seeds, and those things are really good fats. So those nourish your body. The animal proteins that carry the fats from animals do not do the same thing. They really do look different on a molecular level, and they act different on a physical level when you're absorbing them. It just makes sense. Let's look at the other food source. Our food source that we can't ignore, leafy greens. We always hear it, but not everyone prepares it savory and delicious. So 2 to 3 servings a day. Was that 2 or 3 cups a day? 2 or 3 cups. Well, spinach has a lot of really good minerals. But what's better? What's better than spinach? Bitter greens. Bitter greens like beet greens, dandelion greens, Swiss chard, kale, collards, green salads with arugula, and steamed salads even with these bitter greens mixed in. Leafy greens are so good for you, and they carry all those micro minerals, including that good selenium and little tiny bits and proteins. Another food group, crunchy vegetables, 1 to 3 servings daily. This is a good food source during supporting your liver in removing toxins from the environment out of your body. And crunchy vegetables are sometimes hard to get because it's most of the time uncooked vegetables that include the cruciferous family, like the cabbages and things. And the allium family, garlic and onions and leeks. And some other crunchy vegetables like raw beets, raw carrots, jicama, celery, good stuff. How many servings a day? About, well, a cup and a half. Are we getting those servings each day? Well, maybe a little malnutrition if we're not. So, what's another good food source to help your liver, to support your liver in removing toxins out of the environment? Here's another vegetable group, unrefined starches. So what are those? Well, you're going to find unrefined starches are the root vegetables, grains, breads, and even millet and other artisan grains, amaranth, ground buckwheat, maple. And so just use your starches about 2 to 4 servings a day. A half a cup is a serving, so it's about 2 cups a day. So you get a lot of starches, and that half cup serving for bread would be 1 slice of bread. So you get a couple slices of bread a day, and that's fine as long as it's whole grains, local, seasonal, organic. These are supporting your health. I haven't covered all the foods groups. We still have 2 more to go. Seasonal fruit, 2 to 4 servings daily, half cup. So seasonal fruit, what's fresh? What's in season? What's local? What's available? The best sources go for purple and red berries. And what do we have right around the corner? In this next, I guess in June, we're going to see red berries everywhere. We're going to have our native occidentalis raspberries, or black raspberries, and thimbleberries, if you can identify those. Those are delicious. They're filled with these antioxidants and really good for the health. They can't, unfortunately, thimbleberries can't be sold in stores because they do break up, and when they're ripe and ready to eat. But we do have them in our area around here. And if you would like to go on a local plant identification walk, join the meetup group West County Walkers, and you will see that we are having some walks coming up. Some of the walks and classes and other things listed in the group, including the radio show here, is listed on meetup.com under West County Walkers. Join our group. We do walks in Camp Maker, Occidental, and Bodega. One of the few walking groups that gets together in potlucks afterwards so we can hang out, talk, and enjoy the day. So join us on a walk, and let's get back to the seasonal fruit. Covered that in blueberries, cherries, goji berries, avocado, apple, pears, citrus, cantaloupes, and dates. Dates are really good. They have iron and they're sugary, and they count as your fruit serving, but you can use it in place of sugar. So some of these fruits can actually be part of these servings. You know, you get a cup to 2 cups of fruit a day. You know, you're doing good, depending on your individual needs. And you can use them as sweeteners in recipes and during your daily meals. Our last food group, but not the least, the most important food group is boosters and spices. So about one serving. You can get this, like the vitamin greens and supplements and things. You can get it on the shelf, or you can get it from your food. And seeds, hemp seed, spirulina, different types of seaweed, nutritional yeast, herbs and spices. Those things are boosters, and they can boost the nutritional content of the food that you're already eating. So even if you're not modifying everything, think about adding boosters, because most of us are just missing that completely. Add hemp seed, add spirulina. There's little spirulina chips you can sprinkle over a salad, and it goes really great in that. Add ginger, add seaweed to your recipes. Seaweed goes well, doesn't add much of a flavor at all. It adds a little bit of salt, so you can use seaweed in place of salt to salt up your meals. And this could be agar, wakame, arame, and other seaweeds that are kind of benign in flavor that don't give you that ocean flavor are sea palm and kombu. Kombu kind of has the real major spicy flavor. So use those, and if you can get powdered form, they can substitute as salt as well. One more food group. Well, part of that booster food group, herbs that support the liver, include a lot of different ginger, parsley, peppermint, rosemary, dandelion, galangal, astragalus. So get yourself online and check out hunter-nutrition.com. I do have a write-up on the foods that support the liver, and you can also contact me there if you have questions. I do respond to questions. I don't charge for responses. I'm pretty open and available there. So if you do have something you'd like to ask about, go online to hunter-nutrition.com, click the contact me button, and you'll have access to ask me all kinds of questions. Maybe you might hear the topic on the radio if I think it applies to a large group of people. And this way we can boost your health